Hello everyone, a very good evening. Now before we straight away start the session, quickly let me know if I'm clearly visible and audible to everyone out there or not. Quickly post a quick thumbs up in the comment section below and I'll understand. Okay. Surat says audible. Jayasri says yes. Mani says yeah, hi. Prasun says hello ma'am. Hari Murali says yes ma'am. Prem says good evening ma'am. Shatakshi, Ayush, achieving goals, achiever notes, Khilesh, hello. Yes, absolutely. Darpan says hi ma'am, I'm Aratna, I'm new here. Great. Alright, so everything is set now, so we can start the session straight away. Now, I'm sure that you would have already seen the title of the video, right? So this is the fourth session of the MCQ Crusher series. We will be discussing questions from the chapter Coordinate Geometry. Now, coordinate geometry is not something very new for us. We have already studied this before in class 9th also. But till class 9th, it was a very, I would say, one of the easiest chapter in maths, right? So there were no formulas, nothing. So it's one of the chapters that you don't need practice on. But in grade 10th, the story is entirely different, right? So quickly tell me that how many of you like this chapter coordinate geometry? Do you find it difficult, easy? Yeah? Dolly says, ma'am, please tell some tricks to solve. Surely, I'll give you some small tricks, some tips and some strategies. Like when you read the question, I always tell you that sometimes in maths especially it happens that you go blank after reading it. You don't know where to start from. So I'll tell you how to read the question and what are the keywords that you need to look for, right? Yes. Rohan says it's kind of easy. Papiya says, ma'am, I like the chapter. Achiever note says it's very easy. R. Manoharan says moderate. Papiya says easy peasy, yeah? Okay. Shatakshi says, do you remember me, ma'am? Yes, I do remember that you regularly attend the classes and that's really good, Shatakshi. Kanishka says, I keep forgetting on formulas. Ayush says, I hate this chapter. Don't worry, Ayush. Today, we will be discussing the questions on different concepts of coordinate geometry. And trust me, after this session, just pay attention to whatever I'm explaining to you and solve each and every question along with me. Trust me, students, after the session, you would feel that this is one of the easiest chapter of the mathematics, grade 10th. Alright, so without wasting any more time here, let's start the session. So before we start off with the questions, let's first see what all contents do we have in this chapter. So these are the contents in this chapter. Right. Now, out of these, questions only from basics of coordinate geometry, distance formula, section formula, only internal division will be asked in your exam. All right. So, let's start off with the questions now. Today, I'll be discussing 11 questions in all. And these 11 questions, you would see that easy level ones, moderate ones and difficult ones as always. And you would see that in every question, I'll tell you small strategies, tips or maybe small tricks like how to read the question. What are the keywords you need to look for? See, there are only 4 formulas in the coordinate geometry, right? So, it's not difficult for a 10th grade student to remember these formulas, okay? All right, so let's start off with the question straight away. So here we have question number 1 and this is the difficulty level meter that you are going to see in every question. So if you see 2 greens over here, it shows that it's an EV level 1. If you see yellows over here, that means it's a moderate one. If you see difficult one or a red or orange over here, that means it's a difficult level question. Why I have kept this difficulty level meter over here? Reason being, by seeing this, you know that what is the level of the question. Accordingly, you should know how much time you need to spend on that question, right? Because in the exam, you would have limited time. And in mathematics, especially it happens that we are always short of time, right? Agreed? Okay. All right. So let's start with this question. Now, quickly, before I finish this question, I want you to report your answers to me. And those who do not know how to solve it, that's okay. You can work with me. All right. Ankit says, ma'am, please tell how to solve trigonometry identity questions. Ankit, don't worry. We will be discussing trigonometry as well in the upcoming sessions. Don't worry about that. But today, please focus on coordinate geometry. Okay. So, which of the following equations represent the given graph? I can see that people have started writing their answers B, D, and A. So, let's see what the actual answer is. Okay, someone is saying, hi ma'am, tough time with this chapter. Don't worry, by the end of this session, you would start loving this chapter, I'm sure. Okay, which of the following equations represent the given graph? I'll tell you two methods to solve it. You can apply whichever method you are comfortable with. In the first one, 4 equations are there and a graph is given to us. We need to check which equation over here is representing this graph. What we will do is, we will graph these equations one by one. So, if it overlaps with the given graph, that means the equation is the graph of this particular question. Alright, so let's start off with part number A. 2x plus y minus 4 is equals to 0. Right? Okay, so what we see here is that here if the graph is intersecting the x-axis at point 4. Right? And we know that the y coordinate on the x-axis is always 0. So this point over here is basically going to be 4, 0. And here it is intersecting the y-axis at point 2. And we know that here the x coordinate will be 0. So in that case, it's going to be 0, 2. Right? Now what I'll do here is, so first of all, I am going to substitute y as 0 over here. Right? Y is 0. So from here, what will be the value of x? The value of x in that case is going to be 2. That means the point will become 2, 0, right? X is 2 and here y was 0. So that's 2, 0. We'll plot it here and we'll name as A. Now another time what we are given over here is we are given x as 0. Let's check what the value of y is then. So we have substituted x as 0 over here plus y minus 4. What will be the value of y here? That's going to be 4. That means here x was 0 and y was 4. So we plotted here as point B. Now let's join them. So what we see here is that the given graph over here does not match with the actual graph of the question, right? So here they are actually not overlapping with each other. So this definitely can't be our answer. All right, let's take a look at equation number 2 now, which is our option B. Minus x plus 2y plus 4 equal to 0. Similar thing we will do again. We will put over here y as 0 again, right? Since y is 0 on the x-axis. So what is the value of y? Value of x from here is 4. So the point in this case is going to be 4, 0, which is A over here, right? Now let's put x as 0 now. So once I put x 0, the value of y is going to be minus 2. That means B 0, minus 2, which is here. Once I join these points, I get this line. Again, it is not matching with the given graph of the question, right? So this also cannot be our answer. Correct. Coming to option number C, which is x minus 2y plus 4. So from here as well, I'll put y 0. Once I put y 0, what do I get? I get x equals to minus 4. Okay. So from here, A is going to be minus 4, 0. Let's plot it here, right, as point A. Now, again, I'll put x 0. So what is the value of y? Y is 2, which is basically 0, 2. That's B, right? Now, let's join these A and B. So what we see here is that both of them again are not overlapping. So this is not, we can see that it's not the matching with the given graph. This cannot be an answer. I can see mixed answers over here. Some are writing B, C. Now, since I've solved D, now you have started saying it's option D now. Okay, let's see option D. Let's solve this. So we have minus x minus 2y plus 4 is equals to 0. Ayush, question kya hai ma'am? Ayush, here we are given 4 equations. We need to check which of these equations has this particular graph. Which of these equations is representing this graph, okay? Alright, so here what we see that, we can see here that on x-axis y coordinate is 0. So I'll put y 0 now. From here I get the value of x, that's going to be x equals to 4 now. Alright, so A would be equals to 4, 0. This is A. Similarly, put x 0 now because here x coordinate is 0 on the y-axis. We get y equals to 2, so B is going to be equal to 0, 2. Now what do we see? We can see that it is actually matching with the given graph of the question. That means this should be our answer. Yes, option D. Okay, Shatakshi says D is the correct answer. And Vaibhav says D is the right answer. Shivani says I'm saying D starting from right from the starting. Yes, Shivani, you're right. Papaya says D. Aditya, Ayush, Rohan, Aditya, Suraj says, ma'am, I said earlier. Absolutely, D is the right answer for this question. But now let's see what the other method is. So what I told you in the beginning, see the graph is intersecting here at point 4, 0 and the other point is 0, 2, right? One by one, we are going to put these points in every equation and we are going to see if it satisfies the equation or not. Both the points should satisfy the equation. So this will actually save your time, I would say, in the exam. So for the option 1, here I'll put y as 4, right? I'm sorry, here I'll put x as 4 and y as 0, this first point. So here if x is 4, that will become 8, y is 0. So what we see here is that here LHS and RHS are not coming out as equal. So this definitely can't be our answer in this case, right? Now, because first point is not matching, move to the next one, because this way we can eliminate the options. In the next one we see it's 4, 0. Yes. So this is 4, 0. Let's put x4 over here. That's going to be minus 4. Y would become 0. Plus 4, yes, minus 4 plus 4 will get cancelled out. LHS is equal to RHS. But now we need to check the other point as well. So if you check the other point here, x is 0. If x is 0 and y is coming out as 2. So 2 times 2 is going to be 4. What do we see here? 8 is not equal to 0. This cannot be our answer, right? Coming to option number C, x minus 2y plus 4 equal to 0. Put 4, 0 over here. X is 4. Y is 0. What do we see? 8 is not equal to 0. This also can't be our answer. Coming to option number D, if you substitute these points here, both the points will satisfy the equation. That means option D is the right answer for this question. So I'm sure that you would have understood both the methods now, right? And you can apply any method, whichever you are comfortable with in the exam, because see, you have to complete the question, because 90 minutes are there, 40 questions. So in every question, you cannot spend too much time, right? All right. Now let's take a look at the next question, which is our question number 2. So this is an easy level 1. You can see the points A 2, 4, B minus 2, minus 2, C 6, minus 2 are the vertices of equilateral triangle, right angle triangle, isosceles triangle, scalene triangle. All right. Okay, so 4 different types of triangles you have, but this time I'm given the vertices of the coordinates of the vertices, right, which is this 6, minus 2, correct? Now how do I know which triangle it is actually? I don't have the sides. How do I find this out? Do I need to plot them on a graph and then I measure them, each one of them, then I can tell them that which method is this? Santishta says, yes ma'am, you got us to know easy and quickest trick. Great. Sagar says, distance formula. Puli says, plotting on the graph. Priyanshi says, distance. See, plotting on the graph would be very time consuming for this. That's actually not the right method for this. So definitely, yes, many students are writing distance formula we should apply. Absolutely. So first we will find out the length of AB, BC and AC. Whenever you have the coordinates of different points, you need their length. We always apply distance formula in that case, okay? So what is the distance formula? That's square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Shatakshi says we can apply distance formula and find the sides. Absolutely. Okay. So let's find out the length of AB first. So let's suppose that this is x1, y1 and this is x2, y2. One more thing, sometimes students have this confusion that which one should be assumed as x1, y1, which one should be assumed as x2, y2. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether I assume this as x1, y1 and this one as x2, y2, because we have squares over here. Your answer will still remain the same, right? It won't make any difference to the signs whether it is positive or negative. So once I substitute the values here, we get AB equals to root 52, right? Okay. Now let's find out BC in the same way. So here also we will assume one of them as x1, y1, one of them as x2, y2. So we get BC as 8. In a similar manner, we will be finding out AC, right? So AC would be 2 minus 6 whole square plus 4 minus 2 whole square, right? Which would be 4 plus 2 whole square, basically 6 square, right? And the value of AC would come out as root 52. So what do we see here? Sahil is saying it's isosceles. Okay. Ankita says it's C. Sri Charan says it's isosceles. Shatakshi says isosceles. Many of you are writing it's option C. Let's see what the correct answer is. What we see here is that both AB and AC are equal to each other, but they are not equal to BC, right? That means two sides are equal. In which triangle do we see that two sides are equal? That's the isosceles triangle, right? So two sides of this triangle are equal. I can say option C, which is the isosceles triangle, is the right answer for this. Yes, Jyoti says it's C. Sanchita says it's C. Papiya says C. Priyanshi says it's isosceles. Raman Sham says it's isosceles triangle. Ummama says option C. Anurag C. Parth, Krish, Sanya, Anurag, Sambhavi, Suraj, Maitri C. Absolutely. So you have understood this question, right? It's clear to you. How to find out whether what type of triangle is this? We always need the side length for that. And for that, we would be applying the distance formula. We will not plot it on a graph, right? Okay. Let's move to question number 3 now, and we can see that it's a moderate level one, so the level of the question is slightly increased now. Amit and Ashutosh start walking from point A and finish at point B as shown in the figure. Amit follows the red path and Ashutosh takes the shortest path. How much extra distance did Amit have to walk? Lavya says it's lagging. Lavya, if it is lagging for you, please refresh your screen once. Alright, so here, what we can see here is Amit is following the red path over here and he starts from point A and ends at point B. Ashutosh also starts from point A and finishes at point B. But Ashutosh is following the shortest path. Now I want you to answer me that which is the shortest path over here? Which path is Ashutosh going to take? What is the shortest path in this figure? Quickly tell me. Study lover says, Ritik, ma'am, I had taken BYJU'S subscription. It's so much great. I'm glad, Ritik, that you liked it. Okay, Ayush says diagonal. Rajesh says AB. Okay. Inamoni Datta says line, join them. Absolutely, right. So what we are going to do here is, we will be joining these lines to find out the shortest distance which is covered by Ashutosh, okay. So first, the straight line has to be joined, right, this A and B, which is the shortest path over here. Alright, now what are the coordinates of A and B? We are studying coordinate geometry. A graph is in front of us. We need the coordinates of A and B, right. So what are the coordinates of A over here? We can see that it is 6 units away from the x-axis, and from the y-axis, it is 2 units away from the x-axis and 6 units away from the y-axis, right? So this point over here is going to be 6, 2, correct? Now here, coordinates of B. So what we can see here is that coordinates of B, if you see from the x-axis, it is 5 units away. From the y-axis, it is 2 units away, right? So this point over here is going to be 2, 5, right? Okay. So B is 2, 5 over here. Now, we will just write down the coordinates. That's 6, 2 and this is 2, 5, right? Okay. Now, what we need is, it's already mentioned in the question that Amit follows the red path. Here, 1 unit is representing 1 meter. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In all, 5 units have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In all, 7 units he has covered, right? So on the red path, we can see first he covered 2 meters, then he covered this 3 meters, and then he covered 2 meters, right? Okay. Someone says, ma'am, please repeat it again. Okay. So here what happens is the coordinates of A and B first we have to find out. Each unit over here is representing 1 meter. So from here, since Amit is following the red path, we can calculate how much distance he has covered. So 1 unit is representing 1 meter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In all 7 meters. So I have just written them in a segregated way, right? So once you add them up, you get 7 meters then. Now the distance which is covered by Ashutosh, you said, ma'am, the shortest distance would be AB, right? So shortest distance is AB. We have the coordinates of A over here. We have the coordinates of B as well. How to find the length between the 2 points where coordinates are given? That's distance formula. So we'll be applying distance formula on these points, and after solving this, we will get 5 meter. Now in the question it was how much extra distance did Amit have to walk? The difference between their distances, right? Simply I'll subtract them. 7 minus 5, that's 2 meters. So 2 meter is the actual distance that Amit had to walk. Sahil says 2 meters extra. Kashi says 2. Rising Star says option A. Yes, Suraj option A. Mani 2 meters. Navdeep, Ashutosh covered 5 meters. This Amit covered 7 meter, therefore difference is 2. Adhya Dina 2, Muiz 2, Krish 2 meter extra, Charvi 2 meters, Anurag 2, Seva 2 meter extra. Absolutely. Awesome. So all of you have given the right answer for this. Lavya says, I can't understand. Lavya, see, the coordinates we already have, right? And we just calculated the distance covered by Ashutosh using the distance formula. Just apply the distance formula over here, you would get 5 meters. Now in the question it is asking that how much extra distance Amit has covered. So we have just taken out the difference between the distances covered by them, and then we get 2 meters at the end. I hope it is clear to you now. Darpan says, ma'am, I loved it. Great. All right, so option A is the right answer for this question. So now it's clear to every one of you, right? Let's take a look at question number 4 now, and this is a moderate level one, you can see. So the point P, x comma y is equidistant from the points A minus 2 comma 3 and B 4 comma minus 3. Which of the following condition is true for x and y? Now, first thing over here, this point P is equidistant from A and B. It's equidistant, that means AP and PB are going to be equal in this case, right? One thing, you tell me which formula should I use here to find this out? It's equidistant. Which formula can we use here? Quickly. Umesh says my video is buffering. Please refresh your screen once. Which formula can we, Mohini, okay, that's what is equidistant. That means it is at point P is at equal distances from A and B. Siddharth says midpoint formula, Mani says section formula, Prachi midpoint formula, Sahil midpoint formula, Shatakshi section formula, Ankita distance formula. Okay, let me, because most of the students have this doubt and I was pretty sure that you would give this answer. Maitri says midpoint formula, man. No, I'll tell you because this is actually a misconception. Students do feel that when a point is equidistant, when it is at equal distances from 2 points, then we can apply midpoint formula straight away. No, it's not like that. Midpoint formula can only be applied when they are on a straight line. Let's suppose we have A and B over here. P is also lying on this line, and then it is given in the question that P is equidistant from A and B. Then only you can apply distance formula. Is it mentioned in the question that this point P is lying on this line segment AB? Is it mentioned anywhere? No. So in that case, we have point A over here. I'm just drawing a rough figure. We have point A over here and point B over here. That's going to be 4 comma minus 3. And point P is somewhere here, anywhere, but it's not lying on that line. It is equidistant from both these points. How can you apply midpoint formula in that case, right? Maitri says, yes ma'am, it's distance formula. All right, Pradeep says distance formula. Yes. See, I hope this thing is clear to you now that midpoint formula can't be applied until and unless that point is lying on the line segment, right? When they all are lying on a same line, they're lying on a straight line, and it is given that it is equidistant from the other 2 points, then only you can apply the midpoint formula. All right, so we'll be using the distance formula in such kind of questions. See, for section formula, as well, here it is not mentioned that whether it is lying on this or not, so better you apply distance formula over here. Now this is the distance formula that we use, square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Simply here we have this point P, that's x comma y. This is my point A, which is minus 2 comma 3, and this is my point B, that is 4 comma minus 3. Simply what I'll do is I'll be applying distance formula over here. So AP is equals to BP, right? Simply apply distance formula, that's going to be square root of x plus 2 whole square plus y minus 3 whole square equals to x minus 4 whole square plus 11 minus 3 whole square. On squaring both sides, this root will be removed, right? And just open up whatever is written inside. So we have x square plus 4x plus 4. Open the identity. Don't just write x square plus 4, okay? I think this thing I've been telling you in all the sessions, right? Plus y square minus 6y plus 9 equal to x square minus 8x plus 16 plus y square plus 6y plus 9. So now what we can see here is y square gets cancelled, x square gets cancelled, right? So we can just simplify this, and we have 4x plus 4 minus 6y minus 8x plus 6y plus 16. Now let's take the constants on one side and variables on one side. So what do we have here? We will have 4x plus 8x minus 6y is equals to 16 minus 4. That's going to be 12x minus 12y equals to 12. But if I take 12 common from here, 12x minus y equals to 12. This gets cancelled out. We have x minus y equals to 1, right? That would be our final equation in that case. Okay, so what is the correct answer for this question? That's x minus y equals to 1. That means that's the option B over here, right? Okay, Karthik says it's A. Shambhavi says x minus 1 equals to 1. And Archana says it's option B. Ayush says it's option B. Ananya, Santishta A. Anugrah says, ma'am, can you explain it one more time? All right. See, first of all, now you have understood that we cannot apply midpoint formula over here since these points are not lying on a straight line, right? Right. So in that case, here we are using the distance formula. Okay, so simply this is the point P over here, this is point A and B, they are at equal distances from P. Simply I have applied distance formula on AP and distance formula on BP, right? When you apply distance formula, just solve it, simplify it, you would get the final result, right? I hope it is clear to all of you now. So option B is the right answer for this. Okay, so that's the right answer in this case. Rani says, what if we are asked what are x and y? In that case, the question will be slightly different, right? The question will be asked in a different way in that case. Anjana says it's B. Ankita says yes, ma'am. So I hope it's crystal clear to all of you. Yes? Quickly write in the chat window. Maitri says, ma'am, B. Shriddhi says it's B. Prasun says, ma'am, I'm now clear. All right. Great. So let's take a look at question number 5 now, and we can see that this is also an easy level question. Now, in what ratio does the x-axis divide line segment joining the points A minus 3 comma minus 2 and B 3 comma 1? Now, you tell me, because it is very much similar to the previous one, what method should we use here, right? Because 2 points are here, A and B, and x-axis is dividing this line segment. So what formula can we use here? Quickly write in the chat window. Lavya says it's section formula. Shivani, section formula. Ma'am, this is ratio, Darpan. Srishti says section. Absolutely, because we need to find out ratio in the question. Whenever you are asked to find out ratio in cases of, in questions of coordinate geometry, we use the section formula. Now, let me just draw a rough figure. See, I tell you something. In questions of coordinate geometry, if you draw a rough figure, right? Seriously, believe me, it will be very easier for you to understand which method you have to apply here. Now here I'm just drawing a rough figure. A is minus 3 comma minus 2 and B over here is 3 comma 1. This is a line segment, it is given. X-axis is dividing this line segment. So this is my x-axis. It is dividing this line segment. Okay. Now since on x-axis we know that the y coordinate is going to be 0, right? So since y coordinate is 0, so our point would be x comma 0, right? So section formula. What is section formula? That's mx2 plus nx1 by m plus n, comma my2 plus ny1 by m plus n. Okay. So using the section formula, I can say here that y is 0. I just told you that on x-axis y coordinate is going to be 0. So y is 0 over here. And y1 is minus 2, y2 is going to be 1 in that case, right? This is the section formula. See, why I'm not using the x coordinate over here? Why only y coordinate? Because y coordinate over here is 0. But x coordinate, that was x. It will be difficult for us to find out the value. It will not be possible us to get the value using the x coordinate. So y is 0 over here. What is y2? y2 is 1. What is y1? y1 is minus 2. And in the denominator we have m plus n. Even if you don't write it, that's okay. M plus n over here, that's just write it down as it is. Because if I take it to other side, once it is multiplied by 0, it will become 0 only, right? So what do we have here? We have 0 equals to m minus 2n. Let's take this 2n to the other side. That would be equal to m in that case, right? So here, m by n, because we use ratio as m by n, that's going to be 2 by 1, right? And that would be your final result in that case, right? So that means the ratio in this question is going to be 2:1. Sambhavi says 2:1, Vaibhav 2:1, Sindhu 2:1, Achiever notes. Why y is 0? Reason being, on x-axis, if you talk about x-axis, the y coordinate is always 0. Similarly, on the y-axis, if something is plotted on the y-axis, the next coordinate will be 0. Remember this thing. All right. Someone is saying, what about the remaining linear equation? You're talking about the x coordinate. See, we needed the ratio in the question. You don't need to solve the rest of the part. We have already got our answer, right? That's why we used this y coordinate for this. So these are small things that you should know while solving questions. All right. Okay, so let's move ahead. So this is our option C now. Okay. Let's take a look at question number 6. And as you can see, this is an easy one. The given set of points in order A, 6, B, 8, 2, C, 4, 2, and D, 2, B are the vertices of a parallelogram. Find the values of A and B. Alright, so what we can do here is simply, this is the parallelogram that I have, right? That's A, B, C, D. Just write down whatever coordinates you have. That's A, 6, 8, 2, 4, 2, and 2, B. These are the coordinates, right? Now this time coordinates are given. What we can do here is, it says find the value of A and B. So this is basically, I would say, one type of question in coordinate geometry, right? What we can do here is, first of all, we know that we'll be using the properties of parallelogram to solve this. Quickly you would get the answer, you see. Diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other, right? We know this property. So if diagonals are bisecting each other, this is my parallelogram, these are the diagonals. By bisecting, I mean that this is equal to this and this is equal to this. So there they will have a common midpoint. In that case, that is why we'll be using the midpoint formula to solve this question. So we have x1 plus x2 by 2, y1 plus y2 by 2. Papiya says plot in graph. That's going to be very time consuming. So obviously we are not going to do that. We'll be using a simple formula and find this out in few seconds. Okay. All right. Umesh says, will centroid of triangle equation come from exam 1? Yes, we will be discussing questions today on centroid of triangle as well. Right. Okay. So this is the parallelogram that we have. Let's write down the vertices over here. This is 2, B, C is 4, 2, A is A, 6, and B over here is 8, 2. Now AC is the diagonal over here, right? To find out its midpoint, I said we will be using the midpoint formula. That's going to be A plus 4 by 2, 6 plus 2 by 2, right? Okay, similarly, let's join the other diagonal, which is BD over here, right? So you can see that both the diagonals are meeting at the same point, right? Because they bisect each other. So we will be finding out the midpoint of BD, which is 8 plus 2 by 2, 2 plus B by 2. All right. Now what I'll do is, since they have a common midpoint, which is M. I'll equate the x coordinates over here, right, to get the value of A. Similarly, I will be equating the y coordinate over here to get the value of B. So once you equate that, let me show that to you. So once I equate it, A plus 4 by 2 is equals to 8 plus 2 by 2. 2 gets cancelled. What do I have here? A plus 4 is equals to 10. That means A would be equals to 10 minus 4. That gives us 6. So 5 times 2 is nothing. That is 10 over here, right? So you get A equals to 6. Similarly, I'll equate them, right? So we get 6 plus 2 by 2. That's equals to 2 plus B by 2, right? This gets cancelled. We have 8 equals to 2 plus B. B is going to be equals to 8 minus 2. That gives you 6. Right? So we have got the values of A and B from here. Sanya says it's A, Srinidhi A, Sanya, Srinidhi, Dolly says please do it on graph, ma'am. On graph, it's going to be very time consuming because again you would find the midpoint by joining the lines. So in exam you won't have that much of time. So use the basic formulas that are given in your books and quickly get the answer, right? Prasun says A, Sindhu, Isha, Sameer, Sambhavi, Isha, Sanchishta, A. Absolutely. So it's understood, right? It's clear to all of you now. Quickly, let me know in the chat window. Ma'am, Anugrah says, ma'am, I have a doubt. Can we use area of triangle half times x1? Well, see this for this year it is deleted from for term 1 it is deleted for from your syllabus. And moreover, if you look for the complicated methods, the longer ones, that will take a lot of time in paper, right? So look for the simpler methods. That is why I'm telling you that I am giving you the strategies, like the simple methods that you can use. to find them. Charvi says, yes ma'am, clear. Sambhavi says, crystal clear ma'am. Damu says, ma'am, in the previous class we missed some questions. Will you conduct it again? See, whatever questions we missed last time, most of the questions from the, because I was supposed to discuss 10 questions, so most of the questions we have already discussed. So what you can do is, if you have any doubts, you can post in the comment section below and we will address them. Don't worry about that. Alright, so Gurpreet says it's option A. Achiever Note says, yes ma'am. Gurpreet, clear ma'am. Awesome. Alright. So option A is the right answer for this question. Now let's move ahead. So now we have our question number 7 and we can see that it's a moderate level 1. The point 13, 4, 2 divides the line segment joining the points A minus 2, 5, B, x2, y2 in the ratio 3:2. Find the coordinates of B. Now whenever you see that a lot of information is given in the question, as I just told you a couple of minutes before, what you should do is draw a rough figure. So here we have this point A. I'm just drawing a rough line segment and we have this point B, x2, y2. Okay, Kamal says, really before 6 p.m. coordinate geometry is really tough, but now it's crystal clear. I'm glad, Kamal. Alright. Papia says, ma'am, please give a hard level question. Next question onwards, we will have hard ones. But now you tell me what to do in this question first. Okay, so we have this line segment AB and this point P, 13 by 4, 2 is dividing this line segment in the ratio 3:2. So I will put it here, this point, and 13 by 4, 2. This is the rough figure that we have drawn for this. See, by drawing the figure, it becomes easier for us to understand. Now, can you tell me how are we going to find out the coordinates of P? It is dividing them in the ratio 3:2. Quickly write in the chat section. Okay, we have already got the answer. Section formula. Yes. Umesh says, I'm enjoying the session a lot. Great, Umesh. Okay. So we'll be using the section formula. We know what it is. It's mx2 plus nx1 by m plus 1, my2 plus n by 1 by m plus n. Okay. So let's use the section formula for this. Let's substitute all the values. So just for your convenience, I'm writing here, this is x1, y1. This is anyways x2, y2. This is m, this is n, and this is our x, y, right? So all these values we will substitute here. We get this, right? Now what we are going to do here is we will equate the x coordinates and we will be equating the y coordinates. Sameer, ma'am, it is very interesting. Yes. All right. Okay, so let's equate them. So once you equate them, you get this. Now what I need is, I need the value of x2 and y2 from here, right? So we'll be just simplifying this. So what I'll do here is, we have got 3x2 plus 2 minus 2. We will multiply them. You get minus 4. Okay, let me write it down for you here. We have 13 by 4 equals to 3x2 minus 4 by 5. Correct? Now if I cross multiply this, if I take this graph to the other, to this 5 to the other side, we get 3x2 minus 4 equals to 13 by 4 times 5. Similarly, I'll simplify this, 3 by 2 plus 2 times 5, which is going to be 10. Let's take this to the other side. So 2 times 5, that's going to be 10 now, right? Now I need the value of x2, y2. So let me simplify here. So I'll write this as, this is going to be 3x2 equals to 13 by 4 times 5 plus 4. This 4 will come to this side. It will be added. Now x2 would be equals to 1 by 3 of 13 by 4 times 5 plus 4. That's the value of x2 from here. Understood? Yes? Okay. Now we need the value of y. So what I'll do here is, I'll take this 10 to the other side. We will have minus 10 plus 2 times 5. Similar manner, we will take 3 to the other side. We get 1 by 3. Let's just simplify this. So we have here x2 is going to be equals to 1 by 3. Let's take the LCM. So 16 plus 65 by 4, x2 would be equals to 1 by 3 times 81 by 4, that's 27. So we get the value of x2 from here, that's 27 by 4 here. Similarly, y2, right? Minus 10 plus 10 will give us 0, and 0 multiplied by anything is going to be 0 only, right? So y2 would be 0. So you see, we have got the coordinates of B just by using one formula, and that's the section formula. Right, so that's going to be 27 by 4, 0. So I can see many of you are writing option C. Shambhavi, yes. Anchana, Sevas, Sindhu says it's 0. Are you talking about y2? Sambhavi says 27 by 4, 0. Sahil C. Aman, Kashi, Seva, Anchana, Vaibhav, Umama. Yes, it's option C. Awesome. So all of you have got the right answer. Option C is the correct answer for this. Okay, let's move ahead. Now question number 8. This is a moderate level question. Now you will tell me what method we have to use here, okay? The point P divides the line segment joining the points A minus 1, 5 and B 3, 1 such that PB is equals to 1 by 4 AB. What are the coordinates of P? Alright. So what we are given here? You remember what I told you a couple of minutes before? In questions like this, always make a rough figure. It will actually help you. Okay. So here we have got A, that's minus 1, 5 and we have got B, that's 3, 1. I'm just drawing the figure, you tell me which method to use. Okay, you have already started writing section formula, section. Someone is writing distance. No, distance is not possible here. No. Okay, section formula, many of you are writing section formula. Yes, but let me explain you. How do we know that we have to apply section formula here? Coordinates of A and B are given. P divides the line segment joining them. P is dividing them. And PB is 1/4 of AB. P is somewhere on this line and it is 1/4 of AB. Definitely it is very smaller than AB. So I have drawn it closer to B, right? Okay. So now PB is 1/4 of AB. I need the coordinates of P. Let's suppose the coordinates of P are x, y. How do I find this? If I had the ratio in this question, I would have easily applied the section formula and got the answer, right? How can I apply, like which method do I use here? How do I find this out? Okay, someone is saying M and N. Okay, you have already got the values. Someone is saying section formula. Umesh says why we cannot use section formula. I am asking you which method we should use. See, what we can do here is, we are given a relation here. This is the main keyword, PB is equal to 1 by 4 AB, right? If we crack this, then we will be using section formula to find this out. Okay, we all know what the section formula is, mx2 by plus nx1 by m plus n, comma m by 2 plus n by 1 by m plus n. Okay, so first, this is the main keyword that we have. So this was our line segment, correct? I can write AB as AP plus PB, right? And this can be written as, this is PB equals to 1 by 4 AB. If I take this 4 to the other side, I have 4 PB equals to AB, correct? Let's put it here. We have 4 PB equals to AP plus PB. Okay. Now let's take the PB on the other side. We will have 3 PB equals to AP. Yes. Okay. So then in that case, we will have AP is to PB equals to M is to N, and the ratio in that case is going to be 3 is to 1. Wow. So we have got the ratio. Now we have the ratio. We have the coordinates here. We have to find out the coordinates of P, right? So we just have to find out its coordinates. We can use the section formula for that, right? So let's find it out. This is the section formula that we have. Okay, let me write it down here. The ratio that we had was 3 is to 1. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. Let's put all of them here. Simply just substitute the values. What do we get? That's 3 times 3, that's 9, minus 1 by 4. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 5 by 4. So we have 8 by 4, comma 8 by 4. You cancel this out and you get 2, 2. That are the coordinates of P over here. See, just one keyword was in the question. That's why I was asking you to make a rough figure. It will make it easier for you to understand that which method you have to apply. Because once we draw the figure, everything was there except this thing. So if it is given in the question, definitely it will have some use, right? Okay. Mohini says, I didn't get it. Okay. See, Mohini, what we did here was, we already had the coordinates of A and B, right? We had their coordinates. We required the coordinates of P over here, right? So what we did was, we used this relation to get the ratio, which was 3 is to 1. Once you have the ratio, we have just substituted that in the section formula. Simplify it, you would get the coordinates, that's 2, 2. Pari says 2, 2, Jyoti option D. Okay, Govind, give short trick. See, in every question, we don't have a short trick really. But yes, I can tell you the strategies because it happens. After reading the question, you don't know what to apply, right? So I can tell you the strategies, how you can look for the keywords in the question. So make a rough figure for that. Okay, Darpan D, Suraj D, Achiever Notes D, Seva Sasikala, yes. Umama, Ankit, awesome. So all of you know that option D is the right answer for this. Okay, cool. Now let's move ahead. So that's our question number 9, and you can see that it's a difficult one. Okay. So if a square plus b square is equals to 1 and sine theta plus cos theta is equals to root 2, then the distance between PA sine theta minus B cos theta, QA minus A cos theta, comma B sine theta is, right? Okay, so what we need here is, we need the distance between these 2 points P and Q, and these are the 2 conditions that are given to us, so we have to use them as well. First, let's find out the distance, okay? So we know what distance formula is, that's x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Okay, so let's find out their distance. This is what we are going to get, correct? Okay, so here this is nothing but if I simplify this, that's going to be a sine theta plus a cos theta, minus minus would be plus whole square plus minus b cos theta minus b sine theta whole square, square root, correct? Okay, so from this, if I have to take a common, here we have a square, right? If I have to take a common, I cannot just, one second, it is inside this. Here also we, okay, and here we are given that this is minus b, cool. Now if I want to take a common, I cannot straight away write a outside. I'll be writing a square over here, sine theta plus cos theta whole square plus b square minus cos theta minus sine theta whole square. Why? Why have I taken a square common? Why not a? Because a was inside the bracket and there was a square over here. So you cannot write a outside this, you will be taking a square then, right? So we have taken a square. Inside the bracket I have sine theta plus cos theta whole square as it is. And here we have b square outside the bracket. Inside the bracket we have minus cos theta minus sine theta whole square. I hope you have understood this. Aman says, ma'am, it is so interesting session. Thank you, Aman. Akshat, ma'am, super session. Great. I'm glad that you're liking it. Okay, now what we have to do here is this one. This step, you need to know this thing. Both of them are in mind. Both of them have got a minus sign. So when both of them have a minus sign and there is a square over here, what we do is we simply take minus 1 square outside the bracket. Once I take minus 1 square outside the bracket, inside the bracket I will have cos theta plus sine theta whole square. I'm just explaining you this thing, only this thing, okay? Rest of the part will remain same, okay? So minus 1 square is going to be 1 only. It will not affect the sign over here. So I'll write here, let me just write it down. In the square root we have a square sine theta plus cos theta whole square plus b square cos theta plus sine theta whole square. Now if I ask you to take common, it will be very simple for you, right? What I'll do is simply I'll take a square plus b square, I'll take sine theta plus cos theta whole square common from here, and a square plus b square will come outside, right? And root will be on both of them. Remember this thing. Now what we can do is we can cancel out this square and root, but not this one. Here I cannot cancel out the square with root. Most of the students make this mistake. They would cancel out the square and root, but it is not possible. Why? Because there is a plus sign over here. Had it been only a square b square, I would have written a plus ab whole square, then I can cancel out. But here I cannot do that. Since there is a positive sign over here, this will remain as it is now. And here this will cancel out, so I have sine theta plus cos theta. Now you see these equations over here, these values over here which were given to you, we can put it here. And we have here PQ is equals to a square plus b square, that's root, and then we have multiplied by root 2. That's going to be 1 times root 2, which is root 2 only. So it was a difficult one, you see, but did you actually find it difficult, right? We solved it so easily. Shadakshi says it wasn't that much hard. Papia says, I really like this session. All the questions were very good. Okay. Raghav says, ma'am, B would be negative. Raghav, how is that possible? Because there is a square over here. See, that's why I explained you this thing. There is a square. If you take minus sign outside, this will not become negative because I'm not just taking minus outside. I'm taking minus 1 square outside. That will become positive anyways, right? Okay. Anugraha says, ma'am, thank you for simplifying every difficult question. Sameer says, this is fantastic question, ma'am. Okay. I'm glad that you understood. Okay. So option C is the right answer for this. All right, let's move ahead. Now we have our question number 10, and this is a moderate one. So if A minus 2 comma 3, B 2 comma 3 are two vertices of triangle ABC with the centroid G 0 comma 0, then the coordinates of vertex C are. Okay. See, someone asked me just a couple of minutes before that centroid questions would come. Yes, we do have centroid in your syllabus. Let me draw a rough figure. This is the triangle that we have. We have the vertices. Always draw a rough figure to understand. We don't have the coordinates of C. Let's take them as x comma y, right? What is the centroid of a triangle where all the three medians meet? That's the centroid, which is G here. Its coordinates are 0 comma 0, right? Okay, so what we can do here is, we know what the formula of centroid is. That's x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3, comma, y1 plus y2 plus y3 by 3. Now using this, I can get the value of the coordinates of C, that's x comma y. Okay, so this is the formula that we have. This is my x1, y1. Just writing for your convenience. You can also write down in your exam, so you don't make any silly mistake then. So this is the coordinates of the centroid, and coordinates of C are x comma y. Okay. Okay. So here, I'm sorry, coordinates of C are, according to the formula, x3 comma y3, and this is your x comma y. Cool. Now let's substitute all the values that we have here. So x comma y, the coordinates of centroid are 0 comma 0. This is x1, that's minus 2, x2 is 2, and x3 will remain as it is by 3. Similarly, you put the coordinates of y. Let's just simplify this. Minus 2 plus 2 will get cancelled out, right? So what do we have here? We will get, now we'll be equating these x coordinates with the x coordinate, y coordinate with the y coordinate. This gets cancelled out, so what we get here? We get x3 by 3 equal to 0. This gets cross multiplied, so x3 would be equal to 0 in that case. What about y3? 3 plus 3 is 6 plus y3 by 3 equal to 0. This gets cross multiplied. So we get y3, 6 plus y3 equal to 0, y3 would be minus 6. So we have got the coordinates of C over here, which is our option D, that's 0 comma minus 6. This was a very simple one, only one small formula you have to remember for this, right? Pari, it's D, Krishna, Ratnesh, yes, option D is the right answer for this question. Kashi says 0 comma minus 6, Sneh Babu says 0 minus 6, Vaibhav, Sindhu, Umama, option D. Absolutely. All right, now let's move to the last question of this session. That's question number 11, and this is a difficult one, right? So AB and CD are two line segments with coordinates A minus 1 comma 3, B 3 comma 1, C 1 comma 1, and D minus 3 comma 1. If P divides AB in the ratio 3:1, Q is the midpoint of CD, then the distance between P and Q is. Very long question, right? What do we have to do in this? As always, please draw a rough figure. All of you, draw a rough figure in your notebooks. You would find it easy, very easy then. We have got AB and CD are line segments. Let's draw the line segments. Just rough line segments I'm going to draw. So this is AB, let's say, and A is minus 1 comma 3. B is 3 comma 1, okay. Then we have this CD line segment, okay. So this is CD. So it's not that you have to draw this way only, just rough line segments we are drawing. Okay, now it says P divides AB in the ratio 3:1. Okay, P is dividing AB in the ratio 3:1. That means P is somewhere on AB. Let's mark it here. It is dividing this in the ratio P:1. Okay. And Q is the midpoint of CD. Just focus, students, how I am reading the question, how I am breaking the information, given information, how I am utilizing it in the figure, right? Then Q is the midpoint of CD, right? It is the midpoint of CD. That means definitely the CQ and QD is equal. What we need is, we need the distance between P and Q. Okay, if I had the coordinates of P and Q, I can find out the distance using the distance formula, correct? Okay, what we will do here is, simply let's assume that the coordinates of P over here are, let's suppose, x1, y1, right? And coordinates of Q over here are xc, not x1, y1, yes, x1, y1, and coordinates of Q over here are x2, y2. all you need is you have to find out the coordinates of P and Q, and half of the work is done. I would say more than half of the work is done, because then you just have to apply distance formula to find this out. Okay. Rani says using section and midpoint, find P and Q and then use distance. Absolutely. Santishta says midpoint. Papia says midpoint formula. Yes, for finding out the coordinates of Q, I can use midpoint formula. For finding out the coordinates of P, I can use section formula, not midpoint, because the ratio is 3:1. It's not 1:1, right? Quickly, let's find out the coordinates of P and Q. For that, we will be using, in this question, we'll be using the section formula for finding out the coordinates of P. That would be mxb plus nxa. See, why I have given it this way here, mxb and xy, reason being, there was a lot of information given in the question. P was actually lying on AB. So just to avoid confusion, I have given here xb, xa, right? Similarly, when we are applying the midpoint formula, Q is the midpoint of CD, I have given xc, xd rather than x1, x2 to avoid confusion, right? Since it is the midpoint of CD. And once we get this x1, y1, x2, y2, we will be using the distance formula. Cool? Okay. Alright, so let's first apply the section formula to get the coordinates of P over here, right? So P was basically lying on this line segment -1, 3, and that's 3, 1. P was here, ratio is 3:1. So 3:1 is the ratio where M is 3, N is 1, and this is your XA, YA, this is your XB, YB. Just writing for your convenience. Let's put all these values here, right? Okay, once I substitute the values, what will I get? I'll get 9 minus 1 by 4, and here I'll have, this is 3 plus 3 by 4. That's 8 by 4. This is 6 by 4, okay? And once I simplify this, this is 3 by 2. 2, 3 by 2, 3 by 2 is 1.5, right? So we have got the coordinates of P. We have got x1, y1. Okay, cool. Sameer, ma'am, you made hard questions too easy for us. I'm glad, Sameer, that you're able to understand this. Okay, now it's time to find out the coordinates of Q, x2, y2, which we discussed that we'll be using midpoint formula. That's xc plus xd by 2, yc plus yd by 2. Okay, what is xc here? This is xc, yc. This is xd, yd. Okay. Let's put the values here. So what do we get? We have here 1 minus 3 by 2, 2 by 2. That's going to be minus 2 by 2, and this is 1. So we have minus 1 and 1 over here. These are the coordinates of Q. Krishna, absolutely, you're right. Rani, it's pretty easy. Okay, someone says, Anand, I have a doubt. So how to find the coordinates of Q? Is that your doubt? Sridhi says this question takes some time to solve. So we get this question in exam, just leave that question. Absolutely. See, you have got 50 questions. Out of that, you have to attempt 40. So you have, there would be 10 questions that you can leave. The questions which you feel that you're not sure of, you feel they are time consuming, please leave those questions. Okay. All right. So we have got the coordinates of Q from here, which is minus 1, 1. So coordinates of Q are here, coordinates of P we have got, right? So what are the coordinates of P that we have? Coordinates of P, we just got that it was 2, that's 1, minus, that's 2, 1.5, and coordinates of Q was minus 1, 1, right? Now let's put all the values over here. Okay, so we get minus 1, minus 2 whole square and 1 minus 1.5 whole square. So Dakshi said it seems hard, but it wasn't that much. Yes. Okay. All right, so this is clear to all of you. Now let's just simplify this. So we have here minus 3 square and 1 minus 1.5, that's going to be minus 0.5 whole square. Okay, so what do we get here? We have 9 plus minus 0.5 whole square will give us 0.25, correct? 0.25, if I remove the decimal, that's 100, and we have 1 by 4. We have 9 plus 1 by 4 square root. Let's simplify this, and sorry, you get 36 plus 1 by 4, and that's 37. So root 37 remains as it is, and we have 2 in the denominator. That would be our final answer. That's option A. All right. Okay, so option A is the right answer for this. See, this was a difficult one, and questions like this are not that time consuming, I would say. See, I was explaining to you that will take time, but when you do it on your own, it will take lesser time. Now it depends on you, because 10 questions would be there, so you would have the chance that you can leave the questions that are time consuming. Alright, so this was the last question of the session, but this is not the end. So we have lined up many more sessions for you every Monday to Friday to make you exam ready. Very important thing, we have the next session on triangles. So it's on November 1, that is Monday at same time 6 p.m. So stay tuned. And if you want to have access to more such great content, then you can click on the description link below to gain the access of free BYJU'S trial classes and get all your doubts cleared instantly during the class. Alright folks, so this session finally comes to an end. Thank you so much for your great patience. I'll see you soon in the next session. Until then, be curious, keep practicing, keep learning. Thank you.